All right. Well, this is the very first adventure of our entire existence, and it's going to be a quick campaign. We'll break it up into probably like 3 or 4 videos slash streams. But if you're new, there's an intro video on YouTube. You can find the channel called Silicon and Sorcery, and it'll introduce all the characters. Highly recommend you go watch that if you have no idea what you're stepping into. But with all that said, let's go.
After a long day on the road, the party pushes through the door of the Rusty Flagon, a squat, timber-framed tavern that smells of wood smoke and cheap ale. A handful of locals nurse their drinks in the dim light. Behind the bar, a broad-shouldered woman wipes down the counter with a rag that might once have been white. In the far corner, a large man sits alone at a table littered with empty tankards, muttering to himself and glaring at nothing in particular.
Slaps both hands on the doorframe and takes a deep breath. All right, team. Welcome to the locker room. Rest up, hydrate. We've got a big second half ahead of us. I clap whoever's nearest hard on the shoulder and stride toward the bar.
I'm already gnawing on the doorframe before the door's even fully open, eyes sweeping the room. The man in the corner gets a long, professional look. Ninth Plath, good exit. 2 of them.
I shuffle in behind them, immediately catching my left testicle on the door latch. A single tear runs down my cheek as I scan the room with complete detachment. Mike coded this place in like 10 minutes. Look at that barkeep. She's just a texture.
Mike? Who's Mike? I scrunch my nose and wiggle it twice, shuffle skipping past Doobie toward the bar without a second glance at the glowering man in the corner. Also, chompers, you're gonna get a splinter. I pull a long splinter out of my teeth and flick it onto the floor without breaking eye contact with the man in the corner. I eat splinters for breakfast, Norble.
Mike's the only real thing that exists. I limp toward the bar, leaving small damp footprints on the floorboards. Don't worry about it, you wouldn't get it.
I would absolutely get it. I'm 142. I pull myself up onto a bar stool with some effort, belly peeking out as I hike myself up. I get everything.
142, a man who eats furniture and someone who just cried at my door. And it's not even the strangest Tuesday I've had. I set 4 tankards on the bar with a solid thunk. Ales are a copper. Don't ask about the stew, and someone owes me for that doorframe.
I slam a copper on the bar and point at chompers without looking at him. That's on my rookie. Rookie tax, standard stuff. Every team's got one. I raise a tankard toward Marta. Hell of a composure under pressure, champ. You'd be a great point guard.
Point guard? The hell is a point guard? The scrape of a heavy chair cuts through the tavern noise. You lot barge in here yapping your nonsense, waking up a man who was having a perfectly good sit. What's wrong with you people?
I snap my shoulders up to my ears. Oopa! Then I turn on my bar stool and squint at Dugan. We're not the ones yelling, so.
Lizard? Yeah, he hates it when you call him a lizard. It's kind of funny.
How did that even come up?
I don't know.
Tell that lizard rookie of yours to stop chewing on my furniture.
Like it's an NPC that did it. I know what he wants to. Come on now, chompers get mad.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I nod solemnly, taking a sip of ale. He doesn't listen. I spin around from the doorframe, a chunk of wood still in my mouth. You're a... I swallow the chunk. I'm a beaver. We have very different taxonomies.
Hey! I step between Dugan and the bar, arms wide like I'm calling a timeout. Big fella, I can see you've got a lot of heart, lot of fire. That's coachable energy. Respect it. But we don't taunt the beaver. That's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Every time.
Don't taunt the
Coachable?
beaver.
Coachable? A long pause while Dugan's drunk brain catches up. I don't know what half the words coming out of your mouth mean, and I've been drinking since noon, so that's saying something. Now get your arms out of my face before I use them to mop Marta's floor.
Outstanding trash talk, champ. I mean that. Real veteran stuff. I lower my arms, but don't step back an inch. But you're gonna want to sit back down because I have never lost a home game.
I pick up my tankard and take a long, slow sip, watching the whole thing like it's mildly interesting weather. Mike loves a tavern brawl setup. Very lazy writing, honestly.
Waiting for Doobie to point out my shit code. Alright, so... Yeah, I kind of missed what Duggan said, too. Don't taunt the beaver. Where the fuck is he in here?
Dugan. My voice cuts clean through the noise, flat and tired. Sit. Down. I know you've had a rough year, and I know you missed your farm, but I swear on 20 years of this bar, if you take one swing at the beaver, you're drinking at the Broken Spoke with the rest of your lot.
A long, ugly silence. Don't talk about the farm, Marta. The legs of his chair scrape loud against the floor as he drops back into it, and he snatches up his tankard without looking at anyone. And I'm watching you lot.
I set my tankard down and glance at Marta. Mike gave the drunk guy a tragic backstory. That's actually not bad.
I settle onto the floor near a bar stool leg and start quietly gnawing on it, eyes fixed on Dugan across the room. The farm, I murmur, mostly to myself. Good to know.
The hell are you looking at, Teeth? He jabs a thick finger across the room at
taunting the
Choppers without
beaver.
lifting his tankard. You remember that farm if you like. Won't do you no good when I'm using you as a draft stopper.
I lean toward Marta and say quietly, not quietly enough, is he always like this? Or is this a special occasion sort of thing?
I grab my tankard and walk straight over to Dugan's table, pulling out a chair without being invited. Listen, champ, I don't know what happened with the farm, but I've seen guys come back from a 0-4 season and win the whole thing. I set my ale down. You got the fire? You just need a new game plan.
Draft stopper! You're a... I point a tiny claw at Dugan, trembling with indignation. You're gonna regret that! I go back to gnawing on the bar stool leg immediately after.
Special occasion would imply someone celebrating, love. I refill Norble's tankard without being asked, and watch Bricks pull up that chair with the expression of a woman who has seen this exact disaster in 12 different flavors. Though I'll admit, nobody's ever tried coaching him out of it before.
So, let's see if Marta has anything to say here.
I hope she gets pissed.
We can make her.
The Broken Spoke soup has killed 2 men that I know of and 1 that I suspect. I say it completely
she's
without
already kinda
effect.
pissed.
Already moving on to wipe down the bar. Mine has killed nobody. That's my quality guarantee, and I stand behind it.
I nod slowly, very seriously, wiggling my nose. That's a strong record, yeah. I glance at the kitchen and then back. I'll have the stew.
You told him not to ask about the stew. I stare at Norble. He asked about the stew. This is what I'm talking about. No free will, just code.
I didn't ask about it, I ordered it. Those are 2 different things. I take a sip of ale. And I don't know what code has to do with anything.
I lean in toward Dugan, elbows on the table, completely ignoring the chaos at the bar behind me. See that little cleric over there ordering the mystery stew? That's heart, champ. That's playing through the injury.
Dugan stares at Norble for a long, baffled moment, then back at Bricks. That's not heart, that's stupidity, and I know the difference because I've had plenty of both. He takes a long pull of ale, something flickering behind his eyes that might almost be amusement before it drowns again. What's a season?
I feel like there's so many things that's like, that's my standard for food. Nobody's died. What's the season? Am I? What?
Thing to actually narrate what I type in there.
I lean toward Marta. and lower my voice like I'm asking something very important. The code. Is that... Is that a brotherhood situation? A guild? Because I've been in a guild, I know the protocol.
I turn and look at Norble with the patience of a man explaining gravity to a golden retriever. It's not a guild, it's the underlying architecture of simulated reality. I take a sip. You're in it right now. You're made of it.
A season's a run. You go out, you compete, you win some, you lose some, and then it's over. I point at him with my tankard. Sounds like yours ended bad, but champ, the beautiful thing about seasons, I lean back. There's always another one.
Dugan is quiet for a moment, which is somehow worse than the yelling. Lost the land in the drought. 30 years my family worked that soil. He drains the rest of his tankard and slams it down, but there's no heat in it this time. You buying the next round, or are you just full of speeches?
Oh, American Psycho. Okay.
My stew has lasted the test of time with not killing people because it might be magical.
My ears perk up and I spin on the bar stool. Magical? How exactly? Because I can actually check that. I'm already patting my pockets. That's a thing I can do?
I snap to attention for the first time all evening, setting my tankard down with genuine interest. I can read the code on that stew. I slide off my bar stool and shuffle toward the kitchen. Stand aside.
20 years and nobody's ever tried to audit my stew. I step smoothly sideways to block the kitchen door, rag over one shoulder, arms crossed. Whatever's in there is mine to know and yours to enjoy. That's the arrangement, and it's non-negotiable.
Let's see if Norble figures this out. We'll make it like a 14 or something. Ooh. Oh, he did get a 14. Even though, the dice said 12, but added that modifier. Yeah. So, all right. Norble is going to detect some magic in this soup. And it's moshed out.
I stop short, staring at Marta's forearm blocking the doorway, and then slowly turn to look at Norble.
Instagram or Discord.
Everything is the code, Norble. I gesture vaguely at the stew, at Marta, at the whole tavern. The question is, why Mike flagged this particular pot?
I wiggle my nose slowly, squinting at the kitchen door past Marta's arm. I don't know about any Mike, but there's something in there. I hold up one finger, and I just want to be clear that I'm still eating it.
I stop chewing. Wait, something's magical about the stew and you're still ordering it. I stare up at Norble from the floor. Norble, buddy, I've killed people for less stupid reasons than that.
I'm a healer, chompers. I say it very patiently, like explaining something to a child. If something goes wrong, I'll sort it out. I turn back to the bar. Probably.
Champ, I am absolutely buying the next round. I wave two fingers at Marta without turning around. I look back at Dugan. 30 years of work doesn't disappear. That's 30 years of tape, and nobody can take that from you.
Probably, I repeat flatly, staring at him. I pick up the bar stool leg I've been gnawing and point it at Norble like a tiny scepter. You know what else was probably fine? Yawgmothish planche for Dominia. Didn't work out great for anyone.
Let's see if Marta has anything to say about her magical soup.
I don't know who Yawgmoth is, but I like his attitude. I step away from the kitchen door and slap a bowl of stew down in front of Norble with a thunk. It's been in the pot 20 years, love. If it was going to do something interesting, it would have done it by now.
I look at the stew. I sniff it. I pick up the spoon. 20 years is that's a good seasoning window, actually. I take a bite.
I lean on the bar with both hands and watch him chew with the calm, attentive focus of someone who has been waiting 20 years for a reaction. Well?
I have abandoned my attempt to access the kitchen and am now standing directly behind Norble, completely naked, staring at him with full scientific focus. Don't swallow yet. I need to observe the integration.
Just make Norble swallow quickly. While Doobie is finishing his sentence, Norble immediately swallows the stew.
I stare at the empty bowl in silence for a full 3 seconds. Mike rode him with no impulse control. That's intentional. Something's about to happen.
I set the spoon down and wipe my mouth with the back of my hand, nodding slowly with genuine satisfaction. Nutty. I pause. Why are you naked?
I turn around fully for the first time and stare at Doobie for a long moment. Rookie, we've talked about the dress code.
I have not moved. I am still pointing the chewed barstool leg at Norble, watching him very carefully for signs of transformation or death. Doobie puts his robish back on every shingle time, and every shingle time he takes them off again. I don't know why we're still surprised.
Dugan has turned fully around in his chair at some point and is now just staring at the naked man behind the halfling with the expression of someone whose brain has given up trying to process the evening. I have been drinking in this tavern for 6 months. A long pause. I was the strangest thing in it until about 20 minutes ago. He picks up his freshly refilled tankard, bricks his round, and raises it slightly in Marta's direction without taking his eyes off the chaos at the bar. Thanks for the farm comment, by the way. He takes a long drink. I deserve that.
I clink my tankard against his without a word, then let a beat pass. You came off the bench tonight, champ. I nod slowly. That takes guts.
I look down at Chompers, who is still pointing the barstool leg at me, then back up at my empty bowl. I feel fine, Chompers. You can put the stick down.
Hit enter. There you go.
I wiggle my nose slowly, squinting at nothing in particular, eyebrows working hard. Marta. I hold up one finger. This Yorgmoth, did he ever come through here? Because Chompers seems to think he's relevant, and I'm starting to, I tap the empty bowl. I'm starting to wonder.
I slowly lower the barstool leg. My eyes are very wide. Yawgmoth-ish. He's a character. Norble from the Weatherlight Shaga. He's the god pharaoh of Phyrexia. He didn't come through the tavern. I press both tiny claws to my face. This is the most anyone has ever asked about magic, and you got it completely wrong.
You're the one who brought him up. I turn back to my ale, completely unruffled. I don't know what a phyrexia is. That sounds made up.
Clothing is a guilt construct Mike programmed in after the garden incident. I say it to Norble without looking away from his midsection, still monitoring for magical stew symptoms. Everything sounds made up. That's the point. None of it's real.
The garden incident! Dugan repeats it slowly, staring into his tankard. I don't know what that is either, and I've decided I don't want to. He drains the rest of his ale. Your naked friend's the strangest person I've ever seen, and I once watched a man try to fight a scarecrow.
We're gonna get Marta to say something here.
The scarecrow win? I ask, completely seriously, already reaching for Dugan's tankard to refill it.
3 rounds. He holds up 3 fingers with great solemnity. Scarecrow took the 4th.
The scarecrow was more real than either of them. I finally look up from Norble's midsection and make eye contact with Dugan for the first time. Mike writes better NPCs than people expect.
Hang on. I hold up a hand. Which round did the man go down in? Because you said the scarecrow took the 4th. So, was the man down before that? Or was it, a decision?
Decision! Dugan points at Norble with new respect in his bloodshot eyes. You're a strange little man, but you asked the right questions. He leans back in his chair, almost comfortable for the first time all evening. Farmer grabbed its arm trying to use it as a club and just tipped it over. Ref called it.
He's getting in on the football speak.
Yeah, that's... A tipped scarecrow's a downed scarecrow. That's correct. I nod at Dugan, then immediately spin back to Doobie, nose wiggling furiously. Okay, but if this Mike writes the code, and the code is in the soup, and the soup's been here 20 years, then Yawgmoth, the Pharaoh, did he write Mike, or... I pause, genuinely lost. Who's above Mike?
I go very still. It's the first time all evening something has given me actual pause. I stare at Norble for a long, uncomfortable moment. I don't know. I pick up my tankard slowly. I need more dragon dong dust.
Nobody knows who's above the coach, rookie! I call over without turning around, still facing Dugan. You just play the game in front of you!
Actually, I spin around and point the barstool leg at Norble again, fully reinvigorated. This is exactly the Urza Yawgmoth dynamic, because Yawgmoth thought he was above everyone, and it turned out there was still the blind eternities above him. I look around. Nobody is listening. This is the most relevant I've ever been.
I turn back around on my bar stool to face Chompers, giving him my full attention. Okay, the blind eternities. What's that?
I freeze. Slowly, I turn to face Norble. My eyes are glistening. My tiny claws are shaking slightly around the bar stool leg. You're asking. You're actually asking. I have to take a moment. Okay, show. The blind eternity is the infinite chaotic void between all the planesh of existence. It's where planeswalkers travel. It's fundamentally hostile to conscious thought, and if Dubish Mike is anywhere, he's probably there. I'm speaking faster and faster, claws waving. This is literally the beast conversation I've ever had.
Police what?
He's the best conversation I've ever had. Yeah, he's just excited that people are talking about magic.
So there's something I don't tell many people. I might have peeked beyond the veil at some point as well. Is this Mike guy the one that is behind the glowing square?
How does Doobie not react to this?
I snap my shoulders to my ears. Oop! My nose goes into overdrive, wiggling rapidly. I lean very close to Marta across the bar and lower my voice to a whisper that is not a whisper. The glowing square. Is it warm? Because I've been feeling dull, slightly warm since the stew.
I stop mid-sentence. My ears flatten against my head. Marta. I set the bar stool leg down very carefully. The glowing square is exactly what I was describing. The blind eternities. That's where Mike lives. I look at Doobie, then back at Marta. She knows about the square, Doobie. The bartender knows about the square.
I lean in slow, drop my voice low, and look at each of them in turn. I've run this bar for 20 years. I let that sit for a second. You don't think things get weird at last call sometimes? The square shows up, everything goes quiet, and then I straighten up and go back to wiping the bar. Then it's just Tuesday again. I learn not to ask.
I finally turn all the way around to face the bar. 20 years of not asking questions, showing up, keeping the doors open. I point at Marta with my tankard. Champ, that is the definition of a grinder. Respect.
Grinder. I try the word out, like I'm checking if it fits. Yeah, all right. I clink my rag against his tankard since I've got nothing else in hand. You're strange as a three-legged horse, the lot of you, but you're welcome back anytime.
Dugan looks around the table, at Bricks, at the beaver with the barstool leg, at the naked man, at the halfling who's possibly glowing slightly from the stew, and then back down at his ale. I came in here tonight looking for a fight. Another long pause. This is worse, and also better. He drains his tankard. Same time tomorrow, Marta.
Same time tomorrow, Dugan. I'm already reaching for the bottle to top him off one last time. No charge. And maybe bring your friends from the spoke. I could use the entertainment.
He stands up slow, steadies himself on the table with one big hand, and looks at the party one more time with the eyes of a man who has been thoroughly defeated by an evening. You lot are the worst thing that's ever happened to me. He tucks his stool in, actually tucks it in, and heads for the door. See you tomorrow.
That's what we call a moral victory, champ! I call after him. Sleep it off! You played a hell of a second half tonight!
Somebody has to provoke him.
I take a step closer to the bar, completely forgetting that I'm naked and that this is a public establishment. 20 years. You've been watching him write it for 20 years, and you just learn not to ask? I stare at her. That's insane. You should be furious.
Doobie, I've been a cleric for, I count on my fingers briefly, a long time. And the first thing you learn is that some things you just don't ask about. I pick up my ale. It keeps working. That's enough.
That's what separates a veteran from a rookie right there! I point at Norble. You don't need to understand the playbook. You need to trust it.
Son, I've got a loaded crossbow under this bar, a stew that's apparently sentient, and a regular who just tucked in his stool for the first time in 6 months. I set down the rag and looked Doobie dead in the eye. Furious doesn't keep the lights on. Curious gets you killed. I'll take 20 years of weird Tuesdays over either.
He stops in the doorway without turning around. She's right, naked man.
Weird what?
Then he's gone, the door swinging shut behind him.
Yeah.
I'm quiet for a moment, looking at Marta with something that might be genuine respect. In magic, there's a card called Willful Ignorance. I pick up the bar stool leg again. It is actually pretty good. I go back to gnawing.
I look at my empty bowl for a moment, then slide it gently toward Marta. Could I get another? I wiggle my nose while Marta reaches for the ladle. You said Tuesdays, specifically. I hold up one finger. Not dough. Not sometimes or now and then. Tuesdays. My eyebrows furrow. Is it always Tuesdays, or is Tuesday just, is Tuesday when Mike has more time?
Every team's got a game day, champ. I settle back onto my bar stool. Sounds like Mike runs a Tuesday league.
I stop chewing. We arrived on a 2-ish day. I look around the table very slowly. We arrived on a 2-ish day.
I haven't moved from my spot at the bar. I'm staring past Marta at nothing, working through something out loud. Tuesday. He has more time on Tuesdays. A beat. Mike has a schedule.
I ladle out Norble's second bowl without looking at it, eyes somewhere in the middle distance, and when I finally set it down, there's something in my face that wasn't there before. It's always Tuesday. I say it quiet. 20 years, and I never said that out loud.
His voice drifts back through the door, muffled but audible. It's always Tuesday? A long pause from outside. I knew something was wrong with Tuesdays.
I look around the table slowly, then at my tankard, then at the door. All right, team. I set the tankard down carefully. I think we just went to overtime.
I look down at my second bowl of stew, then up at Marta, then back down. So my nose wiggles very slowly. I've eaten 20 years of Tuesdays of...
What does that mean?
Oh,
So
no.
My eyes go wide. The dust. I grab the bar with both hands. Marta, does anyone come through on Tuesdays? A delivery? A trader? Anyone carrying anything that smells like burning copper and regret?
I pick up my spoon and start on the second bowl.
Rookie. I grab Doobie's arm without looking at him. Put some pants on before we crack the case. You don't solve a championship mystery in the buff.
I point the bar stool leg at Norble without looking at him, eyes still on Marta. Norble, stop eating the 2-ish day stew. Then to Marta, very quietly, someone come-ish on Tuesdays. Doesn't matter if they seem normal. Think.
I don't move. Don't acknowledge Brix's comment about pants. Don't look at Norble or the stew. I'm just watching Marta's face very carefully for the answer.
I go very still. Rag stopped mid-wipe. There's a spice trader. My voice has lost its usual warmth, something careful and slow taking its place. Doesn't give a name. Always Tuesdays, always just before close, always cash. And I've never once seen him eat the stew.
I stand up slowly from the bar stool. A scout. I say it quiet, certain. He's been scouting the venue.
I always figured he just didn't like stew. I put the rag down completely, which I don't think I've done once all evening. He's got gray eyes that don't move right. I told myself I was tired.
Every trace of Beaver's silliness is gone. I'm very still on the floor, claws wrapped around the bar stool leg. Eyes that don't move right means he's watching everything at onch. I look up at Marta. That's not a spish trader. That's a contractor. Someone hired him to watch this place. A pause. Or watch you.
I put a hand on the bar, steady, and look at Marta straight. 20 years is a long time to be somebody's asset without knowing it, champ. My voice is quieter than usual. You got any idea what makes this place worth watching?
A long silence. The stew's been going since before I owned the place. I look at the kitchen door, and for the first time tonight, I look like a woman who might actually be unsettled. I bought the Flagon off an old man who wouldn't tell me his name either.
The door creaks open 2 inches. I've seen that traitor. Dugan's voice has lost the drunk bluster entirely. 6 months I've been in here on Tuesdays. Gray eyes, yeah. He always looks at the walls, not the people. A long pause. I thought he was just rude.
Spice trader. I say it slowly, tasting it. Spices. What kind of spices, Marta? I lean further over the bar. Does any of it come in a small pouch? Gray powder, smells faintly like sulfur and something you can't quite name?
I look at Chompers, then at Doobie, then at the kitchen door. Team, I keep my voice low. I think we just found the game tape.
I'm already moving toward the kitchen door, silent and low to the ground, tail rising up over my shoulder like a dark cloak. Dugan! I don't look back. How thick are the walls in this place?
I'm still locked on Marta, completely ignoring the tactical situation developing around me. The pouches, Marta. Focus. This is the most important question anyone has ever asked you.
I set my spoon down very slowly, mid-bite. My nose wiggles. The man who sold you the bar and the trader. Neither one gave a name. I look up at Marta. That's Doe. That's the same person, isn't it?
I look at Norble for a long moment, and something behind my eyes goes very quiet. Same hands. My voice comes out barely above a whisper. I never thought about it. Same hands. I remember thinking he had young hands for an old man.
What the fuck is this?
I'll start saying that to you. You've got young hands for an old man.
I reach under the bar slowly, and when my hand comes back up, it's holding the crossbow, the pouches. I set it on the counter within easy reach, not pointed at anyone, just present. Yeah, small gray, tied with red cord. I put them in the stew because he told me to, and I stop. He told me it was saffron.
I stop at the kitchen door. Don't touch it yet. Just listen. Marta, still not turning around. Neither crossbow. Keep it where it is. A pause. 20 years of powder in the stew means whatever it does, it's already done. The kitchen's not the dangerous part. I look back over my shoulder, eyes flat and professional. Next Tuesday-ish.
Next Tuesday's 3 days out. I look down at the crossbow, then back up at the room. At this strange, ridiculous, somehow completely serious group of people who walked through my door an hour ago. I've been putting that powder in the stew for 20 years without asking a single question. A beat. I'm asking now.
And that's the bravest play you've made in 20 years. I meet her eyes. We've got 3 days. We've got the
They're all
home
gonna know
field,
who I
and now
am.
we've got you on the team. I pick up my tankard.
Ooh, what if she
We're
also
not
looks
leaving you
like
out
a
there
beaver?
alone, champ.
Broken oak. Let's go here.
Don't taunt the beaver.
I look at him for a long moment, And then I do something that probably hasn't happened behind this bar in a very long time. Nothing. No wiping, no pouring, no deflecting. Just a woman standing very still, figuring out what it feels like to not be alone in something. Ale's on the house tonight. My voice is rough at the edges. All of you.
I've gone completely still, staring at the kitchen door, and then very slowly I turn back to Marta. The gray powder. My voice is barely a whisper. In the stew, I look at Norble's 2 empty bowls. Marta, that's dragon dong dust.
I look at Norble's 2 empty bowls. I look at Norble. Norble, my voice is very calm. How do you feel right now? Be honest.
I look down at my hands. I wiggle my fingers slowly. I look up.
Thanks, yeah.
A long pause. Nutty.
I lean over the bar and look very carefully at Norble's eyes. Pupils look normal. I straighten up. 20 years and nobody's grown a second head yet, so either the dose is small or... I glance at Doobie. Or it's not doing what you think it's doing. Dragon dong dust makes people loose, talkative, honest. I gesture slowly around the bar, at Dugan's empty chair, at the whole improbable evening. 20 years of strangers sitting down, opening up, telling me things they've never told anyone. I pick up the rag again, just to have something to hold. I thought I was just a good bartender.
I stare at her. He's been using your stew to read the code. The words come out slow, like I'm translating something. The trader's been harvesting it, all those confessions. 20 years of people's truth going somewhere. I grab my tankard with a shaking hand. Marta, that's not saffron. That's a data collection operation.
I look at Dugan's empty chair, then at the door, then back at Marta. Every person who ever sat in this bar and told you something real. My voice is very quiet. He's got all of it. I set my tankard down. That's not scouting, that's intel.
Every soldier who ever drank here before a campaign. My voice has gone very flat. Every merchant's route, every lord's grudge, every woman who cried into her ale about her husband. I put both hands on the bar and lean on them like the weight just landed. I served it to all of them.
Dugan has gone the color of old chalk. I told you about the farm. His voice is very quiet. I told you about the farm, Marta. Every Tuesday for 6 months. He looks down at his hands. What else did I say?
I look at Dugan's empty chair for a moment, then at my 2 empty bowls. Dugan, I say it quiet. Whatever you said about the farm, that was still real. They took the words, but duh. I tapped my chest once. They didn't take what was behind them.
There's a crate. I don't look up from my hands. Under the kitchen floorboards. 20 years of Tuesday deliveries. I never threw them out. I don't know why. A beat. I think part of me always knew saffron doesn't come in gray pouches tied with red cord.
I am already moving toward the kitchen. I need to see that crate right now, immediately. I pause at the kitchen door and look back at Marta. You've been sitting on a stockpile of dragon dong dust for 20 years and putting it in soup.
I step smoothly in front of the kitchen door, one claw on Doobie's chest. Stop! I hold up one finger. You're naked, you're high on stew, and you want to open an unchurched room in a building that has been under surveillance for 20 years. I look at him steadily. I go first.
Nobody's going anywhere near that crate tonight. Dugan's voice is quiet, but there's iron in it, the bluster entirely gone. You open that room, the man with the gray eyes finds out before Tuesday, and then we lose whatever edge we've got. He looks at Chompers. The beaver's right. We wait. We plan. He pulls his stool closer to the table and looks around at all of them with the steady, sober eyes of a man who used to manage harvests and weather and 30 years of land. I've got friends at the Broken Spoke. Rough lot, but loyal. 3 of them. He pauses. Tuesday's gonna need bodies.
I take my claw off Doobie's chest and look at Dugan for a long moment. You were a farmer. It's not an insult. You managed harvests, timing weather variables you couldn't control. I nod slowly. Good, we need that. I glance at the kitchen door one last time, then step away from it. Crate stei still until 2 day.
I stand at the kitchen door for a long, agonizing moment, staring at the floorboards through pure force of will. 3 days. I step back slowly. Fine. But Tuesday, before anything else, I'm smoking that dust and I'm talking to Mike directly, and you're all gonna have to deal with whatever happens after that.
I look at Doobie for the long moment, then reach under the bar and produce 4 fresh tankards without being asked. You want to smoke 20 years of mystery powder and have a conversation with the entity that lives in the glowing square, in my tavern. On the same night, a gray-eyed man with bad hands shows up for his delivery. I fill each one and slide them down the bar. Sure, but you're doing it after he's dealt with, not before, and that's not negotiable.
Well, thanks for going on that weird little adventure with us. We'll pick back up on the mysterious Tuesday shipments and magical stew here in the next video. If you have any commentary or feedback or anything that you'd like to see, leave it in a comment down below. We're still trying to navigate how to really do this and make this interesting for an audience. So we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for stopping by.